I've got a shameless plug for Dreamworks. I'm just telling you, they're an awesome company because, like, there's at least. I'm not saying that the rest of the movies aren't good, but I really like all of their animated movies. Their animated movies are so good. I just got done watching How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2. And there's parts of 2 I kind of had issues with because I was like, but why? Anyway, I like it though. I mean, if nothing else, to be really super nerdy, they've got really, really talented people working on the team that comes up with all the details and things that they have applied to all their CG characters for their movies that are CG, films. For example, since I'm watching this particular one, I love watching the details they put into Toothless and the characters, just their costumes alone. There's the little itty bitty minute details of like if they have on leather armor or something, you can tell that there's texture to the pieces of leather. It's really cool. And one of the things I hadn't noticed until the other day, I watched it the other day too, but the concept art is incredible. And I was thinking, it looks very similar to what I think is probably potentially some artists on DeviantArt, because it looks like that kind of, stuff. And I cannot figure out where this piece of hair is. Stop it. Okay. But one of my other favorites is Rise of the Guardians, and it's funny how they have several movies that are based on books, and How to Train Your Dragon has done really well. But for example, Rise of the Guardians did okay from what I remember. It didn't do phenomenally well, but it did pretty well. But it's one of my favorites, and I hadn't realized until after the movie came out that it was, in fact, a book series, and it's incredible. I read the book series too, and I love it. But it's funny how some of their movies, they don't necessarily blow up at the box office, but they're still really well done movies, and they're really good. Like, the stories themselves have good plots, they have good characters, and I think I end up liking movies that way anyway, because there's always the elements of potentially expendable character development and or worlds and storylines and whatnot. And I think that's probably the part that I like the best about those kinds of films that they produce and they release. But like How to Train Your Dragon, Rise of the Guardians, I love Megamind. Megamind kind of sort of didn't do terribly well from what I remember, but it's one of my favorite films that they did. I watch it over and over and over and over again. I've seen it so many times that I now kind of like, I'll turn it on because I've seen it so many times that I don't really need to watch it because I've seen it like enough to have all the like dialogue memorized. But it's funny because I remember when DreamWorks pretty much only did things that were kind of like thrillers and horror movies, and they were live action. And then when Shrek came out, it was breaking them out into the animation, field. And then Shrek was really super successful, and it sort of just opened the door for that particular company to just keep going. And they've, as far as I personally am concerned, I think they've consistently come up with good movies. And even the movies they've done that are not exclusively CG, they have other films. DreamWorks has done all kinds of different films. One of my other favorites, I love this movie. Spirit's Stallion of the Cimarron. I love that movie. Anyway, shameless plug. I had to say it because those movies, I don't know if anybody else has ever had that moment, but when you go to a movie and you watch the whole thing, and the whole thing is just wonderful, but by the time the movie's over, you just come out of the movie theater feeling like life-changing, everything just feels good. I don't know if you guys have ever had that moment, but I have had that moment when I've come out of movies like Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, and stuff like that. Just you come out of the movie theater feeling awesome. You're just like, life is good. There's nothing evil in the world. I can take on the world. It just feels good. But anyway, it's okay. So I'm done with my little shameless plug about how much I love Dreamworks films, but those particular ones mentioned are some of my favorites that they have actually done. And I feel like if they continue to make movies of that sort of same caliber, even if they don't blow up at the box office, they were still really good. And, fans out in the world do appreciate those films. So just so you know, if anybody from DreamWorks actually watches this, thank you. Anywho, I'm going to call it. So catch you later.